You're no longer open to new ideas. You won't listen to a word about psychoanalysis.
A word about psychoanalysis. I've listened to volumes, thank you.
You cease to be creative in your architecture. Your work isn't going well. You're not sleeping well.
How can I sleep well, Henrietta, when you wake me every hour on the hour to ask me what I've been dreaming?
Dreams are so important, Steve. If you'll just go to Dr. Russell, he can find out exactly what's wrong with you.
There's nothing wrong with me, Henrietta.
You don't even talk as well as you used to.
How can I talk, Henrietta, when you always give me that look with the dark fashion that you get once you're on the trail of a complex?
Dr. Russell is doing simply wonderful things with nervous cases. Won't you go to him, Steve?
No, Henrietta, I will not.
But Stephen!
Henrietta, I'm not going to Dr. Russell, and I hear Mabel coming. Let's not be at each other's throats on the first day of her visit, please.
Good morning. Oh, here you are, little sister.
Good morning, Mabel.
I was going to let you sleep in, thinking you'd be tired from your long trip, but since you're up, there'll be fresh bagels in a minute. Will you
I already told you, Henrietta, don't get me anything. I won't be eating breakfast.
not eating breakfast?
Psychoanalytical look.
Mabel, why are you not eating breakfast?
Well, no particular reason. I just don't care much for breakfast, and they say it keeps down. That is a good thing to go without.
Do you sleep well? Did you sleep well last night?
Yes, I slept fine. Yes, I slept all right, only I did have the funniest dream.
Mabel, stop while you're ahead.
What did you dream, dear?
Mabel, before you begin, I feel it is my duty to put you on. Don't tell Henrietta of your dreams unless you want to find out you have an underground desire to marry your mother and kill your father.
Don't be absurd, Stephen Brewster.
Okay.
Tell me your dream.
Well, I dreamed it was a hen.
A hen?
Yes, and I was pushing along through a crowd as fast as I could, but being a hen, I couldn't walk very fast. It was like wearing a tight skirt, you know. And there was some sort of strange creature in a blue cap, and he kept shouting after me, "Step hen," until I just got all excited and couldn't move at all.
You say you became much excited?
Oh yes, that was a terrible state.
She dreams she's a hen. She is told to step lively, and she becomes violently agitated. What can it mean?
Mabel, do you know anything about psychoanalysis?
No, not much, no. It's something about the war, isn't it?
Not that kind of war.
I thought it might be the name of something explosive.
It is.
You see, Henrietta, we do not live in touch with such intellectual things as you do. Bob being a dentist, somehow we're friends.
To be a dentist.
Mabel, do you see anything about that editorial writer? What was his name?
Lyman Eggleston?
Yes, Eggleston. He was in touch with things. Don't you see him?
Yes, I see him once in a while. Bob doesn't like him very well.
Your husband does not like Lyman Eggleston? Mabel, are you perfectly happy with your husband?
Oh, come now, Henrietta. Isn't that going on a little bit strong?
Mabel, are you perfectly happy with him?
Why, yes, I guess so. Why, yes, of course I am.
Are you happy? Or do you only think that you are? Or do you only think that you ought to be?
Why, Henrietta, I don't know what you mean.
This is what she means, Mabel. Psychoanalysis. Books by Freud, The New Messiah. Books by Jung, The New St. Paul. The Psychoanalytical Review, back numbers 250 per.
But what's it all about?
All about your non-unconscious mind and desires you know not of. Yes, you could be going crazy with them. People are doing it left and right. One day you're dreaming you're a hen.
Any fool can ridicule anything.
But what do you say is
It's like this, Mabel. You want something, but you think it's wrong. So you think you shouldn't have it. Your mind protects you, avoids pain by refusing to think the forbidden thing.
sort of like an ingrown mental toenail.
The forbidden impulse is there, full of energy, which has simply got to do something. It breaks into your consciousness, masks itself in dreams, makes all sorts of trouble. In extreme cases, it drives one to insanity. But psychoanalysis has found a way to save us from that. It brings into your consciousness the suppressed desire that has been making all the trouble. It is simply the latest scientific method of preventing and curing insanity.
Yes, but it's also the latest scientific method in separating families.
Families that ought to be separated.
The Dwights, for instance? Mabel, you must have met them last time you were here. It was a simple case. Helen was living in peace with old Joe, but then she went to the psychoanalyzer, became psyched, and biff bang, she comes home with a suppressed desire to leave her husband.
Why, I think that's terrible. Did she have this desire?
First, she'd known of it.
And she loved him?
Yes, she did.
Wasn't he good to her?
Yes, good enough.
Wasn't he kind to her?
Yes, he was kind to her.
And she left her good, kind husband.
Oh, Mabel left her good, kind husband. How naive. Forgive me, dear, but how bourgeois you are. She came to know herself. She had the courage.
I may be very naive and bourgeois, but I don't see the good of a new science that breaks up homes.
In lighting, Mabel, we mustn't neglect the case of Art Holden's private secretary, Mary Snow. Well, she went to the psychoanalyzer and came home with a suppressed desire for her employer.
Why, that's terrible. It would be better if we didn't think such things about ourselves.
No, Mabel, that is the old way.
But her employer, is he married?
Wife and 4 children.
Then what good does it do the girl to think she has a suppressed desire for him? There's nothing that can be done about it.
Old institutions will have to be reshaped so that something can be done in such cases. It just so happens, Mabel, that this was the breaking point in landing Mary Snow in the insane asylum. Are you so tight-minded that you'd rather send Miss Snow to the insane asylum than break the conventions?
But people always have these awful suppressed desires?
Always.
But they've just been discovered.
The harm they do has just been discovered. And free, sane people must face the facts that have to be dealt with.
I don't believe they have them in Chicago.
People have them everywhere. The living libido, the center of the soul's energy, is in conflict with petrified moral codes. That means everywhere in civilization. Psychoanalysis...
Good God! I got the roof in the cellar again.
The roof and the cellar?
This is what psychoanalysis does.
This is what psychoanalysis could undo. Is it any wonder that I'm concerned about Steve? I mean, the other night he dreamed that the walls of his room slipped away from him, and he was left alone in a forest. Do you see how significant it is for an architect to have walls slip away from him? It symbolizes his loss of grip in his work. There's some suppressed desire.
Suppressed hell.
You speak more truly than you know. It is through suppression that hells are formed in us.
Don't you think, Henrietta, would be a good idea if we went somewhere else? Oh, I'm sorry, Henrietta. One of the phone plates too. Don't take it so to heart, Henrietta.
I can't help taking it to heart.
I'll get you another plate. I said I'll get you another plate, Henrietta.
It's not the plate, Mabel.
For heaven's sake, what is it then?
It's the significant little false movement that made you drop it.
Well, I suppose everyone has a false movement once in a while.
Mabel, but these false movements all mean something.
I don't think that's very nice. Just because I happen to think of that Mabel Snow you were talking about.
Is Mabel Snow?
Snow. What was her name then?
Her name is Mary. You substitute your own name in for hers.
Well, Mary Snow then. Mary Snow. I don't see anything to make such a fuss about. I haven't heard her name but once.
But Mabel, mistake